All right, so what's going on, family? Today we're going to have another discussion. We're going to talk about this post from Reddit. Why is Buffett hoarding cash if the value of the dollar is declining? Somebody asked that question within this community, value investing. Why do you think he's holding cash? We're going to talk about that. Welcome to the channel. Make sure you guys hit that like, share, and subscribe for more of my opinions as to what is really going on within the economy, within everyday life in general, so that we can be more informed, better informed, and as well prepare ourselves for the things that could come over the horizon. So now, question. If the value of the dollar is in decline, right? Is cash really safe? Generally, the answer is no. Nothing in the world is risk-free, especially when it's dealing with investing. There's always some marginal risk that's going to be in any investment, and that is what cash is. Cash is an investment. It's a liquidity vehicle that you're able to transfer wealth, transfer a value from one asset to another, supposedly in simple terms. Is there some other safe choice that won't be affected by the decline of the dollar? Of course there is. There's a lot of wealth in this world today. There's trillions of dollars that's being transacted, and people who are intellectuals, people who are connected, they always try to place their cash in vehicles that they think would hedge against economic uncertainty, or they place their cash or money or wealth into vehicles that would accumulate or increase value as other assets go down. They also go into, I know about gold, but even gold has a lot of risk. Is there really any safe money? Like I told you earlier, no. If they are worried about money and cash and risk, they should not be in stocks. They should not even be investing, period, if they don't have the tolerance to go ahead and invest. Now, why do you think, though, Warren would be holding billions of dollars in cash? For real. Let's try to answer that question. Because what I can think of in response to that question would be because he wants to be ready. He wants to pull the trigger once assets decline so much in value, he can quickly go ahead and buy up that asset. So that's why cash is sitting. It's just waiting to be deployed at the next asset that he thinks is going to accumulate and increase in value. Another reason could be because cash is very quick. You don't have to go ahead and close out certain transactions and then try to figure out, okay, when you need money, you need cash, you need it fast. That's what you want. So it's safe to keep cash on hand, because if you have your money tied up in real estate, for example, how long would it take for you to get that cash out of that real estate? Months, 6 months, a year, depending on how the real estate economy is acting or the real estate industry is going. It could take you forever to get that cash out of your real estate portfolio. So stay in cash. That's another thing that wealthy people do, is that when they see uncertainty coming, they immediately begin to sell out of their stocks, out of their bonds, out of their real estate, because they know that it's going to be hard for them to get, or at least close out their positions when uncertainty rises. People are going to be running for the door. They're going to just try to get out their positions at whatever price, even if it's at a loss. They just need the cash as soon as possible. So many of them, like Warren, are just sitting there waiting. They're patient. They know when to pull the trigger. As some of these comments you guys will see. Somebody wrote or posted, and until Granddaddy Buffett starts buying, we're not at the bottom. Now, that is true. Not just Warren. A lot of these hedge funds, a lot of these individuals who are on Wall Street, they're not buying yet. Why? Because for one, uncertainty is in the market. And when there's uncertainty in the market, those who have a huge amount of assets under management, they usually freeze. They want to place their billions of dollars in safe assets. So when there's no safety being seen in the markets, they say, all right, cool, I'll just hold my cash until these assets become at an attractive point to where I'm willing to bet now that from this point going forward, I should be able to make money. Now, here's the next one. I guess this is the right answer. If you have to lose money, better to lose it slower. But is he really losing money? Now, everybody knows that cash is not based on anything. It's just simply based on the faith that people who hold dollars think that it has value, right? So in that sense, as we print or as they print more money in the economy, that is what is reducing the value of the dollar. So you are losing purchasing power of the dollar. Understand that. That's why the same type of milk that you buy today, 20 years ago, was a whole lot cheaper. Why? Because there wasn't that many dollars in circulation 20 years ago than there is today. So we're actually throwing more paper at products and services, even though those products and services haven't even changed. The only thing that has changed is the volatility or the velocity of money. That's it. So even though he might be sitting on cash, that cash that he sits on, even though it's a lot, will still be able to purchase goods and services. Will still be able to purchase stocks because there's always some type of monetary value that people place on those things. Somebody also posted, he is probably no longer hoarding, but we have not seen the latest disclosure. That's the problem for us ordinary people. We'll know if Warren Buffett is buying the dip when Berkshire Hathaway's quarterly 13F filing with the SEC is released, which details their stock purchases and sales. That's the bad part. It's because when we see that information, that 13F that they file to the SEC, it's already late. We're too late for us to at least try to participate with Warren and his purchases that he has. We need to see it ahead of time so that we can jump on board as he's buying these stocks. What good is it for us to come in and look for his 13Fs when he probably bought the stock 3 months ago when the stock was trading at all-time lows? Now, there may be some meat still left on the bone that you can at least rise the market to high prices, but understand, it won't be as much as what he got when he first purchased the stock. So for us, it's very important that we figure out some other type of way that we can get ahead of these people so that we can also try to grab as much meat from the bone as possible and not just get the scraps. Somebody also commented right here. Wonder if he's deploying more to Japan investments. Think about it. Start looking at some of these other news outlets, these foreign news outlets, and see what's going on. Because money, cash, is just not in the United States. People move. And when people move, investments move. Why do you think there's so much manufacturing going on in China? Because a lot of the countries, the world billionaires has invested in that economy. Not just China, not just Japan, not just the European Union. All countries have investments globally. So they want their investments to go up, right? They don't want to see their investments go down. And the crazy part is you'll see if these stocks aren't listed on the American exchange, how else could these billionaires get into these foreign countries? How else? Yeah, they'll go ahead and make direct investments. I wonder if Warren and any other billionaires doing the same thing, because I wouldn't be surprised. Not at all. If they understand that the value of the dollar is going down, they're going to look and try to transfer that value from the dollar to the next fiat currency that is maintaining value. So go and look at a chart, look at the Forex market, look at foreign currencies and see which currency is trending strong. If American dollar is going down, there has to be some other currency that is going up, or if anything, it is staying stable. And the reason why those two things can happen is because somebody is believing that that currency is better than the US dollar. It's not hard. He's not literally holding dollars. They're in treasuries. No money is safe. Every asset carries risk and reward. The dollar has very low risk and no reward. Its value decays because of inflation. This is why people buy gold. In the 1800s, if you had an ounce of gold, it would buy you a really nice suit. In 2025, if you hold an ounce of gold, it would buy you a really nice suit. If you had $1 in 1800s, you could buy 12 to 16 loaves of bread. If you have $1 now, it would buy you one loaf of shitty bread. If you're fancy, you can afford 1/4 of a loaf. This post right here is simply shown you how the value has decreased, but gold, precious metals, has not. Gold is still gold. But when you attach a value like a declining dollar, then you'll see why price of gold goes up. The metal hasn't changed at all. The same gold that people bought in 1800s that is here in 2025, that's still the same gold. It was still mined. It was still dug out of the ground. None of the properties has changed. It's still gold. But why is the value of that gold higher today? Oh, because the value of the dollar has went down. Hence why Richard Nixon went ahead and took the dollar off of the gold standard, because you have broken the chain of the dollar being tied to a fixed standard or value of gold. That's why people flee from unsafe currencies, hyperinflation. For instance, they want to put their wealth and transfer it from a declining value like the dollar to something more stable or that's better. So my question to you would be, which currency do you think is going to replace the dollar? I would mind that you all begin to pay attention to the BRICS. This is the second run economy that is being built up now that will not include the United States. Look at the currency that these economies would utilize. Will it be the renminbi? Will it be the yuan? Will it be the Russian dollar? I don't know. But whatever currency that these economies, these countries use, I think that's going to bode well better than the American dollar. Because nobody will want to touch the dollar. They will want to touch the dollar, the currency that everyone else is transacting to do business with. So I think more and more countries are going to stem away from the dollar. And it may not be fast, it may not be quick, but in due time, especially with the next 4 years of the Trump administration and how they are breaking themselves away from their allies and either other countries that they do business with. What you're seeing is a loss of trust. And when you look at the dollar, it is based on faith. It's based on trust. And Trump is diminishing the United States trust across the world. And if you don't have trust, if people of the other world, and if people of other countries don't trust you, then why would they want to hold cash? Why would they want to hold dollars? All right. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. But you guys can go to Reddit, put in the title of this post, and you guys can read some of the other comments that people talked about or what people wrote. So let me know your thoughts, though. Make sure you maintain profit. And as always, trade different.